Why? Why in the hell you embarrassed me in front of everyone? You hissed as his shrill voice pierced through your ear. Don't act like innocent. I knew you what you were trying to do. Throwing a glare at him, you held your heavy wedding gown and slumped down on the bed. He clenched his jaw and shot daggers at you. You laughed inwardly as you saw two imaginary horns building on his head and smoke coming out of his ears. You were trying to embarrass me by making me fall, weren't you? You smirked and leaned back on the bed. I just hold you tightly and we both fell together. Fall mates, you chuckled at your own joke, unfazed by the glows he threw at you. Today was your wedding with John Jungkook, your high school enemy. The academic rivalry showed a seed of hatred between you both. You both grew up, but the hatred remained the same. A few weeks back, you met him again, but as your soon to be husband. You and he both were shocked when your parents announced your marriage with him. You both denied instantly, throwing insults at each other. However, you had to surrender in front of your parents and entered into the magical state of wedlock reluctantly. Ongoing argument was about Jungkook's antic that he pulled off to embarrass you. After the vows, when you both were pushed in the center to dance, he tried to make you fall by with rough moves. However, you held him tightly, resulting both of you fell on the ground together. I don't know how I'm going to bear you. I can't even stand your presence for a single moment, he gritted out. Well, we are on the same page. You gave him a tight-lipped smile and pushed yourself off the mattress. I am going to take a shower. My head is throbbing due to certain someone. You threw a sarcastic remark and disappeared inside the bathroom before he could retort back. Where have I gotten myself into? He groaned in frustration and stormed out of the room. You stepped out of the bathroom freshly showered. Now I feel like I am breathing. A relieved sigh escaped your lips as you changed into loose pajamas. A frown formed between your forehead when you found the room empty. Where is he? You mumbled to yourself. Why do I care? It's good he's not here. I can have a peaceful sleep. You grinned and hopped on the bed. Spreading your arms and legs in the middle of the bed, you sighed as you felt lightheaded. The day's exhaustion pushed you into your dreamland almost instantly. Sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the room. A windy breeze slipped from your lips when the light fell directly at your face, disturbing your peaceful sleep. Blinking your eyes open, you lazily smiled and stretched your body. However, a weight on your stomach hindered your movements. You moved your eyeballs at the spot and your mouth hung open in shock when you found Jungkook's head on top of it. His feet were dangling down the bed. But what shocked you more was that he was shirtless with only plain black trousers on. Your eyes moved to his well-built body on their own. Damn, he has built some good muscles. You subconsciously licked your lips and shamelessly wandered your gaze at his godly body. However, you blinked and averted your gaze away as realization washed over you. You mentally cursed yourself for behaving like a pervert. You cleared your throat as you felt your cheeks heating up and looked at his face. As much as you hated him, waking him up when he was looking so calm didn't settle well with you. Thus, you dropped the idea of kicking him out of the bed. Clearing your throat yet again, you reached out and poked his naked shoulder. Hey, wake up. You poked him again, but all you got a loud snore from him in return. A scowl took over your face at his unresponsiveness. You shook him by his shoulder. Jungkook, get off me. But he kept sleeping like dead. Blowing out an exasperated sigh, you stretched your hands and pinched his nipple. He winced and immediately opened his eyes. Rubbing the sore area, he threw a disappointed look in your direction. That was a very inhuman way of waking someone, he grumbled in his morning husky voice. I tried to wake you up with humanly ways, but at last only inhuman tricks worked on you. Now get off me. And why are you even sleeping on me in the first place? Twitching your eyebrows, you peered at him as he sat upright. I was exhausted last night and was in a dire need of sleep, but you were sprawled over the bed like a lizard. What was I supposed to do? And correction, I wasn't sleeping on you, my head was on your belly. He rolled his eyes when your doubtful gaze didn't falter from his face. You could, yeah. You shrieked in horror and moved aside when he dropped his body on the bed beside yours. You straightened up and glared at him who snuggled against the pillows. Are you crazy, you? Shut up. Give my ears and your mouth a break. Sleep and let me sleep as well. And if you don't want to, go and do something else. You shot daggers at him as he snapped at you. You opened your mouth to retort back, but his sleep-deprived body and tired eyes rendered you silent. Got off the bed and headed towards the bathroom to start your day. You were engrossed in making sandwiches to satiate your hunger when all of the sudden, what is this, poison? You flinched and tilted your head to find him peeking at the sandwiches over your shoulders. You could feel his body heat as he was standing just behind. This is called food, which of course you can't afford. You scolded at him and moved to the coffee machine to brew yourself a cup of coffee. He scoffed in disbelief and stepped towards you, leaning on the counter. He crossed his arms and darted a stern look at you. I can't afford food. Seriously? I guess you don't know the number of zeros of my bank balance. Raising your eyebrows, you looked at him in amusement. Open your mouth to retort back, but his biceps, which had puffed up even more by the position, distracted you momentarily. However, you shook your head to regain your composure and peered at his eyes. Maybe, but you can't afford this food because it is made by the great chef Wine, aka me, and I am out of your league. You smiled at him sarcastically and focused back on your task. And one more thing, his eyebrows twisted as you looked at him with a sweet smile, which was anything but sweet. Use some of your zeros in buying some shirts instead of roaming like a homeless. Roll your eyes when you observed a mischievous look marring his face. Just say you can't handle my hotness. You snorted and shook your head. So delusional. Grabbing the ceramic cup filled with freshly brewed coffee, you grabbed your plate of sandwiches and took a seat on the high chair near the kitchen island, while he followed you, sulking because of your earlier remark. Where's my food? You sighed and pointed at the covered plate where you kept some extra sandwiches. He grinned widely, flaunting his dimples. Already on your wifey duties. Your jaw ticked as you looked at him with blazing eyes. A sheer desire to pull his silky dark locks rose within. Nevertheless, you took a deep breath to calm yourself. I have fulfilled my duties, so you, dear husband, fulfill your part. Clean the kitchen and, of course, the dirty dishes after you are done eating. He smiled and nodded, stuffing the sandwiches in his mouth. Anything for you, dear wifey, he murmured with his stuffed mouth. Engrossed in the K drama playing on the screen, your wide eyes stuck at the couples who were about to kiss. Your excitement was on its peak when they leaned closer. Their lips were about to meet, but what the? You roared as the romantic music was replaced by running commentary, and instead of the couple's kiss, you witnessed the basketball going in the basket. Wow, that was a good one. Clenching your jaw, you glared at him who was cheering watching the game. Snatching the remote from him, you changed it back to the K drama, but the question was, will Jungkook let you win against him? Nope, never. Snatching back the remote from you, he changed it back on the sport channel. Your nostrils flared in anger. You pounced on him to get your hold of the remote, but he raised his hand high in air. What is your problem, John Jungkook? With anger mounting inside your head, you shot daggers at him. However, he remained unbothered. I want to watch the game, and you remember it on the exact time when I was watching the drama peacefully. But oh, how can I forget my peace is your biggest enemy? Whatever. He rolled his eyes and shifted his attention on the ongoing game. But now, you were fuming in anger. I don't want to waste my energy on you. You mumbled to yourself and rose from the couch. Throwing one last glare at him, you made your way upstairs. What do you want? You grated out in frustration and turned around to face him who was following you. He blinked his eyes as if he was the most innocent person in the world, but you knew better. What? I'm not doing anything. He batted his eyelashes innocently. Squinting your eyes, you pointed your finger at his face, prompting him to lean back. Are you done watching your game? Oh, it was your another lame tactic to annoy me, wasn't it? Nah, the game is not interesting. I don't want to watch it anymore. God, I didn't sign up for this. An exasperated sigh escaped your lips as you leaned against a nearby wall and slid down on the floor. You closed your eyes, your irritation intensified as he crouched down beside you. Jungkook, why are you annoying me? You whined. How am I annoying you? I'm just sitting here. You fell silent and stayed into oblivion. He glanced at you, cradled his face on the crux of his palm, and averted his gaze where you were looking. 24 hours. You commenced and tilted your head towards him. It hasn't been 24 hours since we got married and we had argued like 50 times. How are we going to spend the rest of life together like this? His gaze met yours and he nodded in agreement. Right, we can't live like this with hands on each other's throats. So let's establish peace with each other. We won't fight, okay? I mean, isn't it weird for two grown adults to fight like Tom and Jerry? You both nodded and looked ahead, letting out a sigh in unison. So, tell me, how did you spend your college years? Did you miss me? It was fine. I mean, not as exciting as school life. As much as I hate to admit it, it was fun competing against you. What about you? How was it to study in a completely different country? You probed as you both sat facing each other. And your first day as a couple went by narrating each other's college years which you had spent away from each other. For God's sake, woman, come out of the bathroom. I have a meeting in an hour. Let me get ready. Banging on the bathroom door, he yelled in frustration as you had occupied the bathroom since half an hour and showing no signs to come out. Don't tell me you are taking revenge for last night's fight. This is utterly absurd, he exclaimed in irritation, his hand slammed against the door without stopping. 1 week since you both made peace treaty. Everything was going fine until last night. You both couldn't sleep last night, thus decided to play board games to kill time. The fight instigated when Jungkook made a cunning move and won the game by cheating. However, you grasped his move and didn't settle for silence. You pulled his hair. The fight became huge when you threw snarking endearments at each other. The childish argument lasted an hour before you both were left facing away from each other, of course, after having a fight for blanket. Woman, his words halted when suddenly the door opened. His hand stopped just few inches away from your face, letting out a breath of relief. He tried to enter inside, but you stood in the middle. There are upkeep bathrooms in this long house, but you want to use only this one. And the reason is you like to get on my nerves early morning. He scoffed and rolled his eyes. So full of yourself, Mrs. Jones. The world doesn't revolve around you. He gently pushed you aside and stepped inside. But you do. His hands, which worked to close the door, hung midway. He looked up, his eyes met yours. Silence spread across the room as you both stared at each other. You cheated, and you pulled my hair. You both drew out a sigh at the same time. Peace. Uttering at the same time, you both indulged in getting ready for the day. Here, he looked up from his laptop screen and smiled slightly. What are you doing here? He asked, partially happy and partially surprised to see you at his workplace. Why am I not allowed here? Settled on the chair across him. No, I mean, your visit is sudden and unexpected. Above all, during your working hours, he explained in one breath, earning a chuckle from you. I had a meeting nearby, so I thought to have lunch with you. See, I brought food for us. You showed him a paper bag which was filled with different delicacies. Good, come on, I'm famished. He left whatever he was doing in middle and advanced towards the couch. You followed and settled beside him. As you opened the packet to take out the food, a knock on the door interrupted in between. Jungkook groaned in annoyance, nevertheless allowed the person in. Mr. John, you asked for this file. Hearing a very familiar voice, you looked up. Ryan, is that you? You stood up, a smile dancing on your lips. Ryan, his eyes enlarged in shock. You walked towards him and hugged him. He reciprocated the hug with a big smile on his face, but there was someone who was burning in the fire of jealousy. It's been so long. How have you been? You asked, parting away from the hug. I'm good. How are you doing? And you here? Before you could utter anything, Jungkook intervened in between by clearing his throat. She is my wife, Joan Ryan, and she is here to have lunch with me. I think you should go and have lunch as well. And yeah, leave the file on my table. He said to Ryan, a frown formed between your forehead, noticing a sudden change in his demeanor. Let's meet some other day, Ryan. You smiled at him. He smiled back and left after placing the file on his table. What was that? You squinted your eyes at him. What is what? He mumbled, serving food into plates. Though he could feel your eyes on himself, he didn't look at you. How do you know him? He asked as he took a first bite of his meal. You looked at him and smiled inwardly. My college friend. Unfortunately, we separated after graduation, but see, we reunited again. But why are you asking? You purposely added the last question to see his reaction. Nothing, I'm just curious. You bobbed your head and focused on your food, but you stopped when an idea popped in your head. You know, he used to have a big fat crush on me. He even proposed me, but I rejected him because I wanted to focus on my education. Sometimes I think what would have been my life if I had have accepted his proposal that day. You sighed dramatically while he looked at you in disbelief. Excuse me, Mrs. John, in case you forgot, you are married to me. How can you talk about other men in front of your husband? He dramatically shook his head. I just shared an event of my college life. Don't be so jealous. He snapped his head towards you to find you smirking at him. Was he jealous? Yes. But would he accept it? No, a big no. Hey, I'm not jealous or anything. It's a fact he wouldn't look good with you. Like there is no match between you and him. See, there's you and me. We look like a power couple. We can be trend on social media. While he's just out of frame. He scrunched his nose and you bit back a chuckle due to how adorable he looked. Adorable? And Jungkook? From calling him annoying to find him adorable, your relationship made a great progress. It doesn't matter as I am a committed woman now. You uttered flaunting your wedding band, but admitted you were jealous. I am not. He snapped a little, glaring at you. Chuckled as every fiber of his body screamed he was jealous, but he wouldn't admit, never. Laughter and giggles filled the air as the family gathered for a lively dinner. Your parents, Jungkook's parents, and of course you and him sat around the table dining together. Are you okay? He whispered in your ear when he noticed you playing with your food instead of eating. I am. I just don't feel like eating. You whispered back. He looked at the mouth-watering dishes displayed on the table. A frown edged across his face as almost all of those were your favorites one. But his words disappeared in air when he observed your face contorting with uneasiness. Pressing a palm against your mouth, you rushed towards the nearby washroom. Jungkook blinked his eyes, processing the situation. He looked at the elders, whose worried eyes were fixated in the direction where you disappeared. I'll check up on her. He rushed where you went. Expelled the bile rose up your throat. You felt Jungkook's presence. He came and held your hair back, rubbing your back in soothing manner. After discarding the toxic substance out of your body, you felt lightheaded. Leaning your body against Jungkook, you took deep breath to calm yourself. He grabbed the nearby towel and gently wiped your face. Are you okay? Yeah, it feels like my soul just left my body. Did you eat something wrong? He probed as he removed you some baby hair off your forehead. Street food. You mumbled and heard a gasp from him. You thought he would scold you like a husband does to his careless wife, but his next words made you regret having expectations from him. And you didn't bother to bring some for me. Lifted your eyes at his face and contemplated why you were not surprised. I'm done with you. You walked out of the bathroom while he followed, sulking behind. Emerging out of the bathroom, you came across the grinning face of the elders. Frowning at their unusual expression, you settled on your previous spot and Jungkook took his seat, which was beside yours. What's with the smile? Your frown deepened when they glanced at each other, conversing through eyes. We can't believe we are promoting to a higher designation and that too so fast. Confusion marred on your face. You looked at Jungkook, who was equally confused as you. Congratulations and thank you for making us grandparents. As those words slipped from her tongue, Jungkook, who was drinking water, spat it out of his mouth. Your eyes enlarged in shock and you glanced down at your tummy. I'm not pregnant, you uttered and watched their face saddening suddenly. But you, she pointed at the washroom. You sighed and closed your eyes in tiredness. Come on, mom, this is 21st century. I threw up doesn't mean I am expecting. Yes, it could be because of her bad eating habits like eating alone. He cut you off, earning a glare from you. That means there's no good news. We got excited for nothing. By the way, when can we get to hear good news from you? The hopeful gaze made you shudder on your spot. You squirmed on your spot, getting nervous all of a sudden. Whenever we are ready. At the end, it's us who will looking after the kid. Unless we are stable in our relationship, we aren't dragging a new life in our mess. He replied, his voice calm and stern. Sighed a relief as he saved you from a very awkward situation. How many weeks so far? What? The baby? You threw a weak glare at him and looked through the glass window. Silence made him concerned. Ryan, are you really okay? Yeah, just a dull ache in my stomach. I'll be fine. You mumbled straight enough when he turned the car opposite to the direction of house. Where are we going? To the doctor. I said I'm fine, Jungkook. There's no need to visit doctor. Even if you are fine, there's no harm in visiting a doctor. It's better to seek help before your health gets worse. You didn't argue further as you were actually not feeling well. Glancing at his side profile, you smiled to yourself. Immersing husband side of Jungkook never failed to flatter your heart. Living with him wasn't as bad as you thought earlier. Feeling your constant gaze, he redirected his gaze at you. What? Nothing. He shook his head and averted his gaze back at the road, though he couldn't stop the smile that broke out of his lips on his own. Your eyes shot open in the middle of the night. You glanced beside and frowned, not finding Jungkook there. Your gaze averted to the digital clock which displayed 2 in the morning. Getting off the bed, you made your way outside to find Jungkook. You held your head when you found him vacuuming in the living room. What do you think you are doing, John Jungkook? You spoke loudly, gaining his attention. He turned off the vacuum cleaner. Cleaning, I guess, in the middle of the night? He chuckled and scraped his neck in mortification. Put this vacuum cleaner aside and follow me. You walked in the kitchen and he followed you after, keeping the device at its respective place. What are you making? He asked curiously as he noticed you pouring water in a teapot and holding some flower heads in other hand. Chamomile tea. It helps with relaxation and sleep. He smiled and put his head in the crooks of his palm, looking at you with admiration he held within. You are acting like a caring wife. You took a brief glance at him. Ain't I your wife? You are, and I have started liking this that you are my wife. His words spread a sense of warmth inside you. His adoring gaze made your cheeks red, cleared your throat, and looked away. What are you cooking? It smells good. He sniffed and rested his chin on your shoulder, his hands slowly making their way around your waist. This was his favorite moment, hugging you when he cooked. Not that you mind. I'm trying a new recipe. Here, taste this. You fed him a spoonful of your new dish and waited for his reviews. Slowly chewed it twice, then started chewing aggressively. How does it taste? It's nice, but add a pinch of salt in it. You were supposed to say it's perfect. I didn't ask for honest reviews, but a few words of praise. You scolded and pushed him aside. Hey, but help me arranging the table. He sighed in helplessness. Now he understood why his father said wives are difficult to understand. After fulfilling his stomach, you took the charge of cleaning the table, while Jungkook agreed on washing the dishes. We have come so far, Ryan. What do you mean? I mean, from fighting every second to doing chores together, we have covered a long path in our relationship. I agree. After I started living with you, I came to know you are not that bad. He turned around, looking at you with raised eyebrows. You are not that bad yourself. Juggle shook your head. You need to learn about complimenting your officially wedded wife. Now, this is our relationship, our very own scheduled century, and this is my way to compliment you. I won't go with cringe endearments. Same here. From getting on each other's nerves to making space inside each other's heart, that was a truly beautiful journey all along.